were you a whiskey fan, when you first had the idea and you started producing it, or has your love for whiskey kind of grown over time?
It's funny too because I like this question because it's definitely grown over time. But I actually used to drink a lot of whiskey in my younger 20s, my lower 20s, which usually is not a big thing for you lower 20 or 21, 22, 23. It's more becoming more normal now. But when I was coming up, people taking shots of Jack and stuff wasn't the biggest thing. But I did in my like when I was like 21, 22, 23, and then I started to get into tequila. But then as I started getting into my 30s, I would go back to whiskey, and I worked with my business partner Brian Axelrod, and was just like whiskey fits me. It's who I am.
Yeah, the bottle is incredible. It's a great product, and I've been excited to try it for a while. It's Eric LeGrand Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's got a great ring to it. And I read something beautiful where you spoke about sort of comparing your spinal cord rehab to the process of aging whiskey. Could you talk me through that parallel and sort of how you stumbled upon it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't make whiskey overnight. Same with the spinal cord injury. My recovery is not overnight. It's an aging process. I'm 12 and a half years into my injury. It takes time and precision. My therapy sessions are very precise on what we're doing when I'm working in my therapy. Same with the whiskey, when you're messing with the mash bill and being able to find your right formula that you need to make sure that that juice is tasting just as good. And then when you're coming up with different brands like a single barrel rye version, so it kind of fits me. That when you drink whiskey, it's like tough, it's gritty, but mine I like it a little bit smooth too. So I like to say I'm tough, I'm gritty, but also a little bit smooth. It kind of fits who I am. It's something that you celebrate life to.
I love it. And one special thing about this product too is that you donate a portion of every sale to charity. How early in the process of developing the drink did you know you were going to do that? And did you know which charity you were going to choose right away?
Yeah, kind of right in the very beginning when I reached out to Brian about this idea, and he said, it would be really cool if we had a charitable component behind this. Reach out to the Christopher and Dana Reed Foundation, who my foundation is a fundraising branch of Team LeGrand of the Christopher and Dana Reed Foundation. And I reached out to them back when we just had the idea. We didn't have a bottle, we didn't have any liquid. I just ran the idea by them, and they were all on board. And we chose my number 52, so $5.20 on every case. So we'll go back to the Christopher and Dana Reed Foundation. We're hoping that one day, for some years down the road, that we write the biggest check to that foundation.
What is your favorite recipe using your Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey? Or are you mentioned taking shots in your 20s? Like, are you just ripping it straight or do you mix it in cocktails?
Like this out of my do, I rip it straight. it's a, it's unbelievable. Like when I tell people this story, like cocktails, I can have 2 to 3 cocktails, and but usually when you start mixing all the sugar and stuff in these cocktails, like when you got the whiskey sour, you got these Arnold Palmer mixes, like it tastes fantastic. Don't get me wrong, and I like the smoky old fashioned as well. But man, when I can do an incredible amount of shots, which is I don't know if I'm proud of that, but I can do my body can take an incredible amount of shots and I can just have a good night doing that. But yes, I do like to have a cocktail, whiskey sour, and an old fashioned, and getting into now these smoky old fashions, which have been very, very cool. So I do like to mix it up here and there. But if I'm just ready to have a good time, drinking shots.
I'm kind of the same way. I can rip a lot of shots too. My problem is that there's just a breaking point where it's like between a certain number, I'm like, oh, that's not going to end well.
I know that feeling. Believe me. Once I get to that feeling, it's just like, uh-oh. Do I stop or do I just keep going? And I'm like, well, I'm here now, so might as well.
Do you have a do you have any future plans for the brand, other varieties? I know, like, speaking from experience, I'm sure Rutgers students would love like a fireball type. As long as they're 21, obviously. Do you have any other thoughts and plans for the future?
Yeah, we do. We'll see during the holiday season if we want to come out with a limited edition, like a 10-year aged rye version of our whiskey and our bourbon, and see where we want to mix it there. Only have a certain amount of bottles available for the public. Something really exclusive, so people like really want that, like something that you can only get maybe once a year or once in a lifetime type of liquid. So that's what we're going to go for, in the future. We'll see where we drop them at. Like you said, we do at Rutgers, we do it in New Jersey, Kentucky. throughout the country. We'll make something where it's really exclusive, really limited, where people say, I have to get it. And of course, we're going to make sure that it's good as well.
Awesome. And yeah, like I said, I can't wait to try it. I was keeping it pristine last night, but I'm really excited. It's right behind me.
You might have to go try it after this interview. I'm just saying.
I know. And again, I mean, I just have the text drafted to my buddy to let him know, like, yeah, sorry, it's gone.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, Adam. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I know. Don't I know it? Gosh. The last time we spoke, you also had a special project started. You were opening the coffee house and you were getting like the physical location ready. You sent me my favorite mug of all time, which I have in the closet. It's still just a beast of a mug. But I know you were you're trying to sell at Rutgers football games too. Mm-hmm. How has everything been going on that front? And have you gotten everything in line at the coffee house?
Yeah, we have. We're coming up on our 1 year anniversary. May 14th will be our 1 year anniversary, which is Mother's Day this year. So we're going to throw a big party on the 13th, which is the Saturday. So we have 1 year anniversary celebration of LeGrand Coffee House at our brick and mortar. Our online store has been up and running since January 2021, and we completed our second season. Get ready for our third season now, serving our coffee kiosk at Rutgers football games. So it's crazy how time flies by since the last time we spoke, about building this all out. And here we are now in different years, different aspects now, online store, going into year 3, the Rutgers football games, year 3, well, season 3, I should say now, with the coffee shop coming up on our 1 year anniversary. It's amazing.
That's so cool. How has it felt you're going on season 3. How has it felt being embraced by the Rutgers community that has, meant so much to you and that obviously you mean so much to them in a whole new way? Like you're there now on game days in a whole different way. You're selling product. You're getting hungover kids ready for kickoff. How does that feel?
Yeah. I think it's really cool because now we have our regulars that are looking forward to it. Every game that, my workers are there working, they're meeting them and they're lining up, getting ready as my workers come into the stadium and they're like, going to stop by the coffee shop over there and come get my cup of coffee, get ready for the game. And it's something that people now look forward to and they know they're getting a good product, getting to interact with them. So I do the radio still during the games, but I like to get there a little bit early, go over, check out the kiosk, interact with the fans, have a cup of coffee with them, take some pictures, get ready for the game. So it's like a whole new vibe now with this. So it's exciting to see now. Adding the whiskey to it. I can't wait to see what the tailgates are like in the parking lot.
Have you done bourbon in a coffee yet? Have you tried sort of the spike in it?
I haven't done it yet. That's the old Irish coffee right there. I haven't done it yet. And people are like, how haven't you tried your coffee with your own whiskey yet? I'm just like, I don't know. Just the opportunity hasn't presented itself where I wanted to drink what I'm having my morning coffee yet. But don't worry, I'm gonna try it very soon because I've had a few people, my few friends that have tried it. And like, it's actually really good.
It's a classic. Yeah, I can't wait to try it too. Speaking of the Rutgers football program, and we're sort of coming off a little bit of a coming out party in the Super Bowl for Isiah Pacheco. I don't know I think everybody who watched Rutgers games knew how tough a runner this guy was and the different element he brings to the field. But I don't know if America knew until they watched him sort of run away with it en route to achieve Super Bowl title. What was it like watching, a Rutgers man become sort of the breakout star of that run and get introduced on the national stage?
Like you said, Rutgers fans, we've known what Isiah has brought to the table since his freshman year, breaking off an 80-yard touchdown run versus Michigan and just seeing how hard he always ran the ball. And yes, his yards didn't always come easy at Rutgers. There were some struggles, but when he got the ball in his hands, you were always excited because you just knew he runs like every play is this last play. And he's running to hurt the ground even when he gets tackled. It's pretty amazing to see. So when he translates to the NFL now, like when you see that, it's like to us, like that's what we expect. But to the world, they're like, oh my God, this man runs so hard. I can't believe it. And I'm glad he's finally getting, the recognition that he deserves because he was a 7th round draft pick. And you can see that man probably was the 3rd best rookie running back out there. So, and as the Super Bowl champion rookie year, I mean, you can't ask for a better dream come true there.
No. And as someone who knows the program so well, who are are there any other Rutgers players who are maybe going to make a similar impact or you want football fans to watch out for in this year's draft or even next year? Just other names that we should keep our eyes on.
Yeah, you got a few guys coming out. Obviously, another one will be coming out next year. Max Melton, a lockdown corner. Bo Melton's brother. He's been doing it now, playing on the ranks for now with a lot of games for. This will be his 4th season coming up. He's played a lot of football, but he has that, that I guess to put it where he can be elite. His cover skills, his tackling skills, his aggressiveness, fitting in a run game, as well as being able to lock somebody down. He's somebody that you should look out for. Another guy that stood out this year who was a free agent for Rutgers was Trey Avery. He with the Tennessee Titans. What a year that he has performed. But I'm really looking forward to seeing more of the guys develop at Rutgers and turning into NFL stars on the road with guys like Tareem Powell, who's a 6'4", 6'5" middle linebacker that we had that flies around and makes plays, and there's so many others. Aaron Lewis at defensive end coming off the edge. As I start to think about it, the more and more these guys are still got 2-3 years left of eligibility. Future is bright.
Future is bright. And I know you are you sort of are really plugged into the Rutgers basketball program too. The last time we talked, they were in the middle of a little March Madness craziness, but college basketball, all eyes on the sport lately because the season ends and the transfer portal goes nuts. Like 5 people from every program are in the portal. People are floating around, getting snapped up by other programs. What are your feelings on sort of that general craziness? And do you think it's going to help or hurt Rutgers basketball moving forward?
I don't know if it's going to hurt Rutgers. But the basketball program, yes, Rutgers has kept most of their guys, and they find guys now that they bring in. When you come to Rutgers, it's not like you're expected to be a one and done. You're expected to come here, develop into, the player that you're going to be. And with Coach Pikel's system, that's what it suits for. Obviously, we're starting to get some of the top recruits like Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, who have a shot to be one. Hopefully we get Dylan Harper, but yes, could be a shot to be in one and dones. That's the type of recruits that Rutgers is going after now, which is pretty cool to see. But the guys that are there now, like you expect them to be there for 3, 4, 5 years and develop under that system, and it really doesn't scare me like that somebody's coming to poach a Rutgers player away that's a top player from us, because it just hasn't hit yet. But now I feel like we're in this now. Like it's not new anymore. This the transfer portal. Like we're here now. It's been going on for the past 3, 4 years. Coaches have adapted to it. Some like it, some hate it. It's a part of life now. And just a new. If you haven't adapted to it yet, then I don't know what you're doing as a coach. This is just what life is now in college athletics.
Yeah, and Pikel obviously recruits a certain type of guy who loves to deliver 40 minutes of hell. So if you're a Pikel guy and you're in the portal, like he's gonna find you.
Absolutely, man. Cam Spence, that coming finding him this year was just a godsend. Obviously, he can shoot the hell out of the ball, but he plays locked up defense, like you said. It's going to give you 40 minutes of hell.
Yeah, that guy's nuts. Speaking of podcasting, before we go, I know you have also recently started your own podcast, an interview show. You've had, I don't know how you don't geek out with Strahan and Bryan Cranston on the show, but what have sort of been the most rewarding conversations so far? And again, how do you not just like freak out? How do you keep the conversation moving?
It's very cool because when I get to talk to Strahan and you talk Bryan Cranston, just interviewed Triple H and Carly Lloyd, Ryan Clark, and Paul Rabel. Like when I speak with them, I feel like they kind of just let that their guard down and just be open, be themselves. Obviously, they all know what I went through, my battle, my struggles, and how I go about life. And I feel like they kind of want to express themselves a little bit more too when I'm in deep conversations with them and learning more about them, because maybe they could say, hey, what I went through might be able to help Eric, but also everyone else that's listening to this podcast, or being able to tell funny stories or good stories here. They just feel more comfortable talking with me. And I always appreciate that and I respect that, because yes, my situation may be a little bit different, but it's not like they hold back from it. They actually let out more. I think that's what drives the conversation. And I had some great guests on there that have told some great stories and just great learning experiences for everyone that listens.
Yeah, is that sort of the number one tip or thing that you've learned? Just getting people on your level and just the power of you as the host. All of a sudden, if you're opening up, they're opening up too, and that's kind of how you keep the conversation moving.
Really is. I have a great team behind me. Obviously, our producing team, Malcolm Sports, and then Greg Hanna, who does all this stuff, writing up our script. John Archibald, who does all our social media, and then Teachers Insurance Plan in New Jersey. They help us be able to put this show on, each season. So I'm excited to work with them, but just the brainstorming, like, okay, we have this guest. Okay, then you have Greg goes and does his homework and watches all these different interviews, and then we're like, this relates to you. These are things that you really need to hit on, and this is what we really need to get out of this person. See how comfortable they are talking about this type of, topic or subject, whatever it is. And usually that's what I do. I dive into it, and obviously I am who I am. What you see is what you get. I always try to tell people that. And I think that's what people are like, kind of respect me, because, I'm not coming on here like, my chest up, just talking like, reading off of a teleprompter. No, yes, I have my notes, but, I want this conversation to be easy flowing and people just to feel vulnerable and let that out a little bit.
Well, yeah, you get that right away as soon as you start talking to you. I mean, same deal here. I had my notes ready, but I wasn't ready. I had to be ready for your energy. I had to match it from the start. And I thank you for that. You definitely made me better, made this go smoother by bringing it from the jump.
I appreciate that. It's just like I said, I am who I am, which is what you get. And I'll put on a front. I just happy just to be able to just talk about life in general.
Did I hear you say you got Triple H and Carly Lloyd coming up? What other episodes should we keep our eyes out for?
Yeah, so far we've dropped 3 out of the 6 for season 1 that we had. And that was Michael Strahan, Bryan Cranston, and then Paul Rabel. And now we have Carly Lloyd first, then Ryan Clark coming on, and then ending it with Paul Levesque and Triple H with a nice Degeneration X banger at the end of the game, man. So that was a special interview. I can't wait for everyone to just see the rest of these 3 episodes, because each one of them have their hidden gems inside them all.
That's so awesome. I can't wait either. And is there anything else you'd like to plug? I mean, I feel like you and Bruce Springsteen are the hardest working men in New Jersey. So I don't know what else you got going on in your life, but I mean, is there anything else I haven't touched on yet?
Sure. So my foundation side, Team LeGrand of the Christopher Dana Reeve Foundation, we have our 13th annual A Walk to Believe coming up that takes place at Rutgers. It's a 5K. We also have a virtual option where people can participate throughout the country and throughout the entire world, where people can register at christopherreeve.org/AWTB and come out for a 5K. A great time. We have a barbecue after music. DJ Yoshi's on the ones and twos, and got face painting going on. It's just an all-around family event for a great cause where we raise money to help us find a cure for paralysis. So that'll be taking place on June 3rd this year at 10 a.m. We'd love to see people come out to Rutgers, and if you can't make it in person, just do a 5K virtually wherever you are that day.
Amazing. Eric, thank you so much. What is it, like 120? I think by 121, I'm gonna have the bottle open. So, and I have you to thank for that.
That's amazing, man. I love it.